Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide. Well, today we are checking out the Supernote because it has received a massive new update 2.10, and it's like a humongous list. It doesn't actually add any new amazing features, but it addresses a ton of things system-wide. So let's check it out. Alright, so the Showa 2.10.25 or the Supernote Update 2.10 is here, and before we kick things off, I just want to show you this is one of the features that has been added, that you can finally see the release notes on the device itself. So for me this is very welcome because it makes things a lot easier when doing covering the updates of the Supernote. But I just want to kind of stress one thing out. This whole thing, this is page 1 out of 4. Page 2, page 3, page 4. 4 full pages of new features that have been added, adjusted, optimized, and fixed in a single update. And this update is following update 2.9, which was also in itself extremely powerful because they added the functionality of using hyperlinked PDF files as templates in your notebooks. And then they follow this up with this ginormous update because of the sheer number of things that have been covered in this update. All of them will be mentioned, but I will show the ones that I believe are important and can be actually shown so that you guys see what has been changed, and also kind of to test some of those things out. Let's do the update 2.10 on Supernote. Alright, so the first thing that has been added is that the notebooks, now you have the support for headings. These were originally named titles, they are now headings. And links, they can be edited, right? So before you had extremely limited editing capabilities, now we can actually do this. Where's my pen? Alright, back with my pen. And before I get the same question for 1 gazillionth time, which is the pen that you are using on this one, it is the Amazon Scribe Premium pen that I really prefer to use on pretty much all of the devices. Previously, you could just do, let's go to a new page here, and this is a heading, and this is a link, because we're gonna test those things out. So now I'm going to select this, and I'm selecting because I have set up the Supernote so that the button press is a lasso tool. So I just press the button and then select these things. So now we have the heading and the link, and as usual you can turn it into a heading, and I could turn this into a link. And now we can actually just say like, okay, so this is going to be how it's gonna be decided, and another page in the current file, and we're gonna select page 2, for example. So let's go okay. So that's my setup. And now the editing that is being allowed is, let me just go through the list here and see. So in order to edit a link or a heading, you select it in the same way again, but you now have several things. You can copy, you can cut, you can move. Okay, so you can actually move it to what, a different, to a different page. That's pretty sweet. Then you can zoom in and out of headings and titles. I believe that they mean that you can scale them. Yeah, you can scale them now. So that's kind of cool. So let's see if undo works. Yep, works. That's good. So that I can change the style. Okay, one thing that I'm not an entirely huge fan of is that once you perform an action, it just kind of goes out of it, because maybe I would like to test out these highlights and kind of decide on the one that I like the most. and then we can actually, yeah, I just had a mispress here, so this is why the heading disappeared a little while ago. All right, and then you can remove the heading. A heading can be both things at the same time, I guess. So it should be able to have it as a heading and as a keyword at the same time. So, and then I can add it. Okay, and then we go back and I go here. So now I should have this as a heading and I have this as a heading. So headings and links can now have dual functionalities, so you don't have to choose one or the other. So that's pretty sweet. As far as the editing of the links goes, we have the ability to, I guess, change the appearance of it. So we want to change the appearance, and you can modify the link entirely. So you no longer have to remove it and then add it. You can just simply edit the link. Yep, so this is editing the appearance, and maybe I wanted to actually link it to a different page. So let's say maybe page 3, and then I go back here, and that's that. Okay, cool. Can I move the link? Yep, copy, paste, cut, and move to another page. Let's see how does that work. So if I just move it here and then tap, no. Let's see. So we have a lasso tool that has something in it and it has a link. Okay. I would expect that the move thing would actually work differently, because this is not what I think of when it says move. Because right now the only thing that it did was it copied this link into the clipboard and it went to the page, but it didn't paste it. So if I want to move the link, this kind of functionality, what it should do is you want to move the link here, and at this point in time, when I'm still performing the move action, the tool needs to be automatically selected to the lasso tool, or the link needs to be also automatically pasted. Because right now, the move function isn't doing anything. It's just simply copying the link into the clipboard and moving it to the page, but it's not finalizing and completing the move functionality or the move operation. So the move operation either needs to do a cut of this and then automatic paste in the same location in the selected page, right? So when I select the page, then it should automatically paste it where it was, or it should auto select the lasso tool so that your next tap would be pasting the link from the other side. I'm kind of leaning more towards this option because it's more flexible. You don't know where the content will be and things like that. So, but the auto select of the lasso tool is an absolute must. Otherwise, this move thing simply isn't really complete and it's not exactly doing anything. And the final thing for me is that it's confusing. If I want to move something, that means that it's going to be gone from here. This is a copy function, and I don't see what is the difference between a move and a copy other than just giving you the shortcut to go to a page, like copy and go to a page. So that's how this functions, and I think that the move functionality is a little bit kind of wonky, and it would need, definitely, at the very least, it has to auto-select the lasso tool once it gets you to the new page so that you can automatically paste this link, because you are in the middle of a move function. When creating or editing an existing link, you now have the ability to create a brand new notebook by going to Other Files, and then you have, there it is. So you can actually do the whole thing. You can create a new folder structure, a subfolder structure and everything, and then you can also add a new notebook and then link to it. Notebook overview current is now named pages, and now in the pages you are able to select several pages, and you can move them, you can copy them, you can change the templates on them. So you can perform, move, delete, copy, and add, change templates on several pages at the same time. Another thing that has been added is that now in the real-time recognition notes, you also have the region eraser tool, something which was really strangely missing when they added and introduced the real-time recognition notes, but now it's actually added. And the erase gesture, the double fingers and then drawing, that now by default activates the region eraser in the real-time recognition notebooks as well. Right, so the next addition to the documents is that their whole text highlighting system has been completely revamped. So you no longer need to use the brackets to actually highlight. We have a dedicated highlighter tool. And on the face of it, it seems to be working great, but this is a tool that needs further refinement. I don't think that it's fully implemented in a correct way. And let me just show you how it first works. You can just simply select the tool, and then go like this, it highlights, and then you can choose what type of color you want, yellow, green, purple, blue highlighter. And when you export this, then it will be a highlighted kind of thing. So if you want to edit it in any kind of way, you need to tap with your finger. So let's say that this, we want it to be yellow, and that's it. So now I'm done. And then if I want to change the color, I can tap on it and I can change it to green. So that works, that's fine. I can change it to underline and all of these kinds of things. So that's kind of cool. I can even change it to a comment, and then I can say, this is my comment. This is concert. Well, I can't really blame it because my writing was terrible. And then you can actually just kind of add a comment, but there's no indication that this one has a comment. So a little icon, like a little note or something like that, would have been a nice thing to know if an underline has a comment that's associated with it or not. So that's one of the things that's definitely missing. Now, the second thing that I think is problematic is that you can't turn this into a digest from the editing menu. So if you wanted to make it an actual digest, you would need to redo it again and then choose the digest option. And then it does the brackets and turns it into a digest. Digest can be edited like before, and they are a separate kind of entity on their own, that they live their own life. So let me just see if I can just tap on it. Yep. And then you can associate this is my associated note with this specific thing. You can go back, and now it's an annotation, right? So just marking it as a brackets thing or the lined thing, that's a digest. Once you actually add an annotation to your digest, then it becomes an A, which is an annotation. And then you can edit it again in the same way. So you can edit this and you can delete it from here. So the thing that's missing for me is the ability to create maybe this an underline, and then I want to switch it into a digest. So that's number one thing that's missing. Number two thing that's missing is that you can easily create a whole lot of mess. So for example, I can do this, and then I can just go like, well, no, I wanted to actually add a digest, and then I wanted to actually add a highlight, and then I wanted to add another highlight, and then I wanted to add another, and quickly it turns into a whole mess. The way to remove these is really, really bad. So at this point, or I'm just kind of missing something. At this point, the only way to remove this is to manually tap, remove each of the levels of the mess that I've made, right? The digest itself will need to be opened. So if I tap it, this was the underline, and here we get to the digest, and then we get to remove it, and now we're back to the whole thing. So nothing is broken, But the functionality is made in such a way that it allows you to create a really, really big mess. And unless you know that the only way to delete these things is to actually physically tap with your finger and not with your stylus, this makes it counterintuitive, because when I'm in highlighter tool, it's a pen and it's working really well with my pen, but it is misleading that I can't really tap on it to enter the editing mode. And I think that for the first time when you're actually encountering this tool, it's not as intuitive as I believe that it can be. So yeah, the highlighting is definitely there, but the implementation is the user experience part of it is not there yet. There's a little bit of clunkiness, and especially the editing, the ability to edit it into a digest from a highlight, and the ability to actually more easily delete these highlights. Those are the things that I think would be a welcome thing to have. Right, so now we're gonna be reading through the list here, and these are a couple of things that I'm not gonna be showing, but I wanna list them. So when reading PDF, EPUB, CBZ, FB2, and XPS documents, you can turn pages via Bluetooth. So if you have a page turner Bluetooth device, this now you can do. And I think that when you pair it with the screencast option, I think that that's a really, really good thing to actually have for presentations, for example. Then it says supports searching for real-time recognition notes and supports switching between file, keyword, star, and handwriting for more precise results based on categorization. So I guess we should at least check that out. So let me see if I go to files. How does that work? And I go into notes. How do we search? Yes, it's the global search that's from the top down here. Okay, so if you don't know where to actually look for it, I think that this is an unintuitive placement of a very important function. So this is where you want to go. You want to swipe down and then go to a global search. And then you have all of the stuff that we've talked about, and then you can search file, keyword, star, handwriting, and then you can narrow things down. So that, I think, that's the new feature that we're talking about. But what I think is kind of missing is why not have the search icon here when you are looking for things, when you're in the file browsing mode. So that's something that I think is missing. Then we have Supernote now supports WEBP, or Web Picture Image Format, and the web picture images can now be used as screensavers, note covers, templates, email, feedback attachments, and linked to files. So global system-wide support for web picture image format. Then also in the settings and keyboard, added the virtual Hebrew keyboard and virtual Arabic keyboards, including Saudi Arabia and Egypt. All right, so now we're getting to the adjustments section of the update 2.10, and here are the following. Size is no longer limited to 1872 1404 pixels, the native resolution, when using PNG images as templates, and it supports using 3 more image formats as templates, so no longer just PNGs, and you can actually use any size, I guess. Yeah, any size template, and you can use them as PNGs, JPEGs, JPGs, and web picture image formats. In notebooks as well, when with copied cut content stored in the virtual clipboard or in the Laso tool, you can only clear it by tapping the clear clipboard button rather than by tapping or re-lassoing handwritten text. So that, I think, is also a pretty cool thing, because previously you had to re-lasso and then make a copy, and then it will actually update the clipboard. So the clipboard memory would just kind of stay indefinitely until you change it. Now you can actually clear it. So that's a good thing to see. Another adjustment in the notebooks, you can no longer exit the Lasso tool by tapping with fingers. Nice. With anywhere outside the Lasso area too, you can only do so by tapping with pen. And this was usually an issue. I didn't really face it that much, but you would use your pen to lasso tool, and then if you would tap, it would exit the lasso tool, and now you can actually, there's no more inadvertent exits, I believe, with this kind of a fix. The next one for Note and Document and Mail and Calendar, updated the marker icon. In the Documents pinch to zoom adjustments, you can now close the document window and make it reappear when you start zooming again to turn pages, and instead of staying fixed at 50% per pinch, the zoom level is now proportional to the distance between two fingers when pinched outward, and when tapping the buttons in the zoom window, the zoom level increases or decreases by 10%, not the 50%. So let's go back into a document and test this, because this is an important update. So we now have pinch to zoom. Okay, so I can zoom in to a level, I can close this, and does it preserve the zoom level? No, now you can just kind of, you're in this really still very not so responsive kind of navigation of the page. So the zooming thing, you can pinch to zoom, and how is it responsive? Well, okay, so the way it works is when you, the touch input has several events. So you have touch start, then while touched, and then touch end, right? So it's like 3 for each of the touches. So in this case, only when your touch end is received on both of them will the change that you have done actually be displayed. And that is not how a typical pinch to zoom works. The way a typical pinch to zoom works is while in touch state, mimic the proportional zooming so that we know where we want this to be actually zoomed and placed. Right now, it's not doing that, and this is not how you would expect a touch or pinch to zoom to function, and it's not really that usable because you just kind of do this and then this. It's not really that good. So this is something that definitely needs a lot more improvement. And here it would also be nice that we can either long press or tap and type in the number that I want, because maybe I know that I want to type it and use it directly at 12%. But at this point I can't really do that, and it's going to be very difficult to do that because it's like so much guessing to try and get to do that. So while there's some improvements to the zoom functionality in a PDF, this one really needs a lot more work, from the bare functionality of it, how it's actually registered and displayed, to the overall user interface, and a little bit more refinement there as well to actually make it a usable part of the PDF reading experience. All right, so in Documents, instead of having to draw the brackets one after another in that specific order to create digest, because you can still do that to create digests, you can now draw them without many order distinction. All right, so let's test that out. So that would mean that I should be able to kind of write, okay, no, I don't want that, I want this. So I should be able to draw one here, one there, one over here. And I should be able to recognize these things. But nothing is really happening. So let's see, maybe I'm not... that works. So okay, so that still works, but I can easily break it if I do this. No, that one worked now. That one, okay, so maybe it's just my, no, not the whole page. Maybe it's just my writing that was not that good. Yeah, he's very picky. Really picky about this, so let's try. No, This one, maybe this one is actually bad, so it's not recognizing it. Here, let's try more angles. That didn't work. So let's delete this, and now because they're digests, I have to tap, delete. I'm not really sure what do they mean that you can actually do it without any distinction. So does that mean that I am able to just maybe do this and then this? But it didn't, it's not, it's, I think it works, but it's very picky. And this doesn't work. So let's try again. I want to try and make it work from backwards. Very precise. And then it works. Okay, so I think it's the ordering will work, and the logic itself probably works fine, because I've seen that's a bug. I just went to undo and it didn't delete the digest. That's a big bug. That's a nasty bug. Bug. Anyway, yeah, I think that the feature definitely needs more work, especially the undoing when you create a digest and you don't want it, and you can undo it and it doesn't delete the digest. So that's something that definitely kind of needs more work. And this kind of bracket stuff, I think the idea is good, but it's not. In reality, it doesn't really lend itself that much, and I see myself using the highlighter far more often. I really don't see, and even if they actually add that option, you can just highlight, and then you can at the later point, so let's say that this is my underline, right, and then I can just tap and turn it into a digest. I don't see a reason for the brackets anymore, so yeah, but maybe that's just me. Then we have in the documents adjusted the 3 smallest fonts in display settings of EPUBs, making them even smaller than they are now, or maybe they meant than what they have been up till now. Calendar, when viewed in the calendar, notes will now be displayed based on their creation date. That's pretty cool. Top menu bar, long pressing the Wi-Fi icon will now take you directly to the Wi-Fi settings screen. That is awesome. That's something that I was looking forward to, and this is really cool to see. Nice. You can now review release notes for the latest system updates, system release version, so this thing that I'm doing now, which is also very cool. Change the current low battery prompt behavior. It will now appear when the battery level is at 20%, 10%, and every time it goes down by 1% after reaching 5% level respectively. Lamy pen, or any pen with the button settings. When Lamy side button is configured as a lasso or region eraser, triggering it will activate the designated action that remains effective even after the button is released. Cool, you don't have to keep holding the button. You can actually just start the action, release the button, and this whole thing, the action will remain. Cool, I like that. All right, now we're getting to the optimization section, and we have in notes and documents, keyword optimizations. You can now add new keywords directly by navigating to the toolbar. You can reuse recently used keywords. You can switch between 2 sort methods by page numbers or by the AZ alphabetical order of the keywords to display keywords. Yeah, it is in the toolbar, but in the expanded section, or maybe it shows when you're in the side view. Nope, you don't see it in any view. So this should have been set in more section of the toolbar, because this is the more section. This is not in the toolbar itself, but the functionality is there, and all of the advanced sorting and everything else is regarding keywords is also a part of the update. Word document optimizations, optimize switching between original view and reflow view, switching between handwriting mode and keyboard mode. So those are optimized, I guess, working faster. When in a handwriting mode, handwriting recognition will now be triggered by tapping the corresponding button rather than by double tapping the screen with one finger. I think that this is really cool because I never liked the double tap for 2 reasons. Double tap for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, would be that if you are not using that feature constantly, you will forget it because it's a non-descriptive feature and you have to kind of remember what it is. And reason number 2 was that it was prone to accidental touches and changes, and maybe not something that you want. So yeah, having a dedicated button for that functionality is gives you more control and it's easier to use, I would believe. So I like that change. Then they have Note and Documents, improve the display effect of handwriting exported to vector-based PDFs. I will export a PDF and show it here to kind of see how that looks like. But what I've also noticed is that handwriting itself is also nicer after this update. It's a little bit more precise. Maybe it's just a subjective impression, but it just feels and looks a little bit nicer than before. Then the sidebar menu supports reordering and removing items in the quick access by long pressing on them. So you can long press and you can move it up, or you can remove it and things like that. This is something that I really like. It's something that we've missed, so it's a really good thing to actually have, because I use the quick access quite a lot, and I depending on the project that I'm using, I like to keep it kind of tight and organized so that I keep the minimal amount of things. So I frequently remove and add things, and this just makes things a lot easier on a day-to-day basis. Notes and Documents added the ability to keep track of search history in documents and real-time recognition notes respectively. Nice. I guess that's very convenient for those who do searches intensively. Mail optimizations. I don't use email on the Supernote, so I can't really check any of these, but let's go through them. Added the ability to mark emails as unread, useful. Added the deleted and spam folders, also useful. Supports reading emails offline, very useful. Improved user interaction in multiple ways, non-descriptive, but I guess helpful. Top menu bar. If you enable browse and access or screen mirroring, so browse and access or screen mirroring, immediately after you enable Wi-Fi, you will now have a smoother experience accessing that feature. I guess before it was like if everything is off and then you just go tap, maybe there were some problems. So to me, this says that this may have been optimized or improved. Then in the settings, you have added the search ability in the user manual. Cool. The feedback page now covers the full screen, resolving the issue where left-handed users could accidentally trigger unwanted parts on this page. Useful. When switching to a different Wi-Fi network with the correct password saved, the device will now connect automatically without needing to tap the connect button. Cool. And page 4. Settings. Supports using email plus addresses when signing up for new accounts. Okay. Sync optimizations, and these are all synchronization optimizations. Improved speed at which prompts appear for verifying cloud authorization completion and folder sync selection after tapping the sync buttons. So that's improved. Supernote Cloud is now not automatically selected as the default cloud storage service. This just tells you again so much about Supernote, and that it's possible to not be greedy and dishonest and things like that as a business and still survive. Yeah, they're not pushing their cloud service onto you. You get to be free to choose what you want. Similarly, like Windows had to do with their internet browsers. So I'm kind of wondering, like, why is this rule not enforced all over the place, so that you actually have to choose and have an option to choose whether or not you want to use and which service you want to use. Really like this thing that it has been added. When tapping the sync icon without selecting cloud storage first, so you haven't selected the cloud storage and you tap it, it will automatically direct you to the settings to select one first. Really ties in nicely with the previous one. Resolve the issue where renaming conflict files with overly long files names failed, and a sync feature failure prompt will now appear when you delete a file that's being uploaded during syncing. So again, really important stuff that's been added in the synchronization process, and all of that will work either with your Google Drive, Dropbox, or the Supernote Cloud. And then finally, we have a list of fixes. So system, fix the issue where the device could occasionally consume too much power. Fix the issue where the USB OTG flash drive would be immediately disconnected when the device switched to sleep mode. Fix the issue where the 24-hour format was occasionally changed to 12-hour format after the device was awakened from sleep. Digest fix the issue where the digest extracted from the same page were sorted incorrectly. I've actually experienced this before, so that's actually good to see. Files, fix the issue where the files could be sorted incorrectly by time. Never experienced that. Fix the issue where the copies didn't preserve the password lock when the original locked files were copied to the same folder they were already in. Well, that was a big thing if it was actually happening, so good thing that was fixed. And in the settings, we have two final fixes. Fix the issue where overly large images were displayed blank when setting them as screensavers. I guess that's the support with the different resolutions now. And fix the issue where multiple options were displayed as selecting when rapidly switching among several options in the left menu. All right, cool. So, phew, those are all of the additions, adjustments, optimizations, and fixes of the Supernote update 2.10. All right, so update 2.10 on the Supernote. I do like the most important features, such as the adjustments of the headings and the links, because that affects me the most. I really do love the highlighter option as well, the direction where they're heading, because it's of way better functionality than what we've had before. But as I mentioned while testing it and reviewing it, that one still needs some more work, so that we actually have the ability to kind of have more flexibility and more control over what's going on, especially when we're talking about deleting the and adjusting these highlights and the digest, and maybe the merging of the highlights and the digest so that you can switch between and things like that. Other stuff is like a massive amount of things, and to be quite honest, because I was going through the list, some of them I've definitely even forgotten, but I do remember one other thing as well that I really liked, which was the conversion or the interpretation of the handwriting when exported. Definitely you can see a difference, and it actually looks rather nice now. Other stuff, yeah, zooming thing absolutely needs a lot more improvement, because the way everything about it is simply not good. You know, from the gesture, how it functions, the logic of the gesture, how it functions, how it's updated, the performance of it, and all of that kind of stuff. Like the whole thing, I think, needs a lot more improvement, and that's something that where they should kind of focus on, because even though we do have the really good functioning split view mode, which is basically fit to width mode, and that's what I use pretty much most of the time, sometimes you are in a situation where you might want to zoom in and use the zoom functionality, and even though it's not like something that you will use super often, it would be a good thing to actually have it as a finalized tool. It's not that difficult to do, and it just needs a little bit of, you know, TLC, tender love and care, to kind of make it a properly usable tool, and that it's on par with the rest of the tools that you have in the armada of tools on the Supernote. The search functionality, I think it's really cool that it's now getting some attention, but I would also think that it would be useful to have it in the files view, overall files view, because logically that's where you want to do the search. So why not have the search bar or the search functionality integrated into the overall system and files view, because yeah, that just kind of makes more sense than just going from the top bar to actually top toolbar to initiate it. I get it, it's a system-wide type of thing. This is one of those things that makes absolutely perfect sense to a long-time Supernote user, and it makes perfect sense to the developer themselves. This is one of those issues where it's really easy to kind of overlook that this is an invisible, very important invisible feature for a new user. So I think that one definitely needs addressing, especially because so much attention has been added into improving its overall system-wide search functionality. Well, I hope that you liked the video and that you found it useful or informative. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell to get notified when new videos come out on MyDeepguide. crossed 49,000 subscribers. Let's ding that up to 50,000, which is a really cool number. So I'm kind of looking forward to when that's gonna happen, because it's a really nice milestone for My Deep Guide. So thank you guys for the support and for watching and for tuning in to all of the e-ink world goodness that I'm bringing you for now quite a few years, actually 3 years now. Haha. MDO, My Daily Organizer 2024, is now almost wrapped up, and now it's like testing phase and wrapping, kind of polishing some things and preparing all that. So I am trying and aiming to release it by the end of the week, but you never know when you actually might run into like a, kind of deal breaker of some sort on here and there. So it's not out of the woods yet. It's not the final phase yet. It's the final-ish kind of phase, but things are looking okay. So I'll know in a couple of days. And if everything's on track, then the next video, which is going to be on Friday, is going to be the MDO 2024 release and launch video. And if not, then it's going to be something else, and MDO 2024 will then be moved for the next week. So that's the timeline. And in case that you're wondering, like, okay, so what happens if I buy MDO 2023 now? What happens then? Well, as an existing customer, anybody who is purchased at any point in time any of the MDOs previously, before MDO 2024 is released, they will be eligible for a 30% discount code as a returning customer. So even if you buy MDO 2023 now, you will already get it as a discount, of course, because it's September now. And also you will get a 30% discount on when buying the MDO 2024. And for that, you can check mydeepguide.com/shop, and you can find the MDO and MMP as well, which is My Deep Guide Meeting Planner, which helps you organize, simplify, and centralize all of your meeting needs. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye.